Hi guys, and welcome back to all the new viewers. My name is Amanda, and for all of those returning viewers, welcome again. So we're in the kitchen, and I am currently in my nook at the end of the kitchen. Today I need to do some baking for the little 6-month-old grandchild who is teething. So the aim is to try to modify a standard cookie recipe and turn it gluten-free instead, so that for me as well, because I like cookies, so if I can convert the recipe to gluten-free, great. If not, the recipe that I've got in mind, actually using some of the different ingredients that I use when I'm making different breads, can make cookies quite crunchy. And that's what I'm thinking. So you can use arrowroot and you can use cornstarch, either of those. And with all the canning things going on behind me in my pantry cupboards, I've got a modified cornstarch called clear gel, which we use when we're doing pie fillings and things like that, when we are canning up fruit. So I figure that the clear gel should actually work the same way as a normal cornstarch or even arrowroot. Arrowroot is hell expensive, so it's not an option, but I do have tapioca, I've got rice flour. I can make a plain flour out of all of the normal ingredients that I use when I'm making gluten-free bread. But to switch that over into a cookie dough, although I think I have a recipe somewhere for that as well, but I'm just going to wing it. So let's see whether this works. If it does, great. You're going to see a video with a new ingredient recipe for, they're going to be maple syrup and vanilla cookies, but there will be some peanut butter powder in there. That's a little bit of a extra boost because he does like peanut butter. So it's good protein. Let's try. Okay, so what I'm going to experiment with is this range of ingredients here. So I'm going to use butter. I'm not going to make this vegan, but I will just use butter this time around. So I'm going to use 100 grams of butter, and I'm also going to use about, let me think, how much am I going to mix? 1/3 cup of the maple syrup should be enough, and 1/3 cup of the brown sugar. Those combined in a microwave proof dish and heated up can then get added to the dry ingredients, which are going to be some peanut butter protein powder, some clear gel to make them crispy, a gluten-free flour that's made from rice flour, tapioca flour, potato starch, and xanthan gum, and some vanilla paste as well. Let's give it a go. And already I'm changing up the recipe. So I've reduced the sugar and the maple syrup. So I've only added 1/3 cup of each of those items, 100 grams of the butter. This dish is going to go into the microwave now. We're going to heat that up while I combine all of the dry ingredients as well. So I've got my 1 cup of gluten-free plain flour mix that I've made up, as well as 1/3 cup of the clear gel or the modified cornstarch, or just arrowroot or just plain cornstarch. I'm going to add the peanut butter powder. You can just use ground peanut powder or take this out altogether if you don't want to do nuts for a biscuit, but I'm going to do peanut butter and vanilla flavoured biscuits this time. So I'm going to do 2 tablespoons of this, which will give some extra protein as well. So 2 tablespoons of that, and normally I would put cinnamon as well, but I'm going to avoid cinnamon and ginger. So I'm just going to do the peanut butter at this stage, and then probably do a couple of teaspoons of vanilla paste as well. Okay, so the butter has melted with the maple syrup as well, and in that hot liquid I'm going to add a good squeeze of the vanilla paste, probably 2 teaspoons of the vanilla paste. Mix that together and then combine it with my dry ingredients and see if I've got enough liquid to make this form into a cookie dough. I'm just going to mix all the dry ingredients together really well first, make sure they're well combined before adding the liquid. Looks okay, and then we're just going to roll little balls. Bake them in the oven, which is preheating at the moment at 180 Celsius, which would be, I think, about 360 Fahrenheit. And we'll see whether or not this mix all comes together. Now, it's still winter here in the Redlands, and something we have on this property is paralysis ticks in a big way now. A couple of days ago I retreated all my animals. I always do. I do them at 5-month intervals, not 6-month intervals. But I did them all, at the beginning of the month. They were due on the 4th. I did them all on the 1st. Everything was all good. I've just been down to the stables. I've fed all the goats. Did a bit of mucking out of the stables, tidied up the patio ready for the feed order. That's going to be arriving soon. And just as I was coming into the kitchen, found myself a lovely tick crawling down my arm. Now, ticks aren't a big deal to a lot of people. Unfortunately, I happen to be one of those people who have anaphylaxis to ticks. And even a young nymph, when it bites me, sets off the anaphylactic reaction really quickly. So I'm surprised that they're still around. I got bitten a couple of weeks ago as well. I'm surprised they're still around and so active when we are below 10 degrees Celsius here most mornings at the moment. So for those who do have animals, just be aware that the ticks are already clearly on the move. Okay, I'm just going to grab another spoon so I can mix this through properly. Now, there's no rising agents in this, and there's no bicarb, so we're going to be doing, because these are designed as teething rusks, so I don't expect they're going to rise or anything, but it's still a little bit wet, so I might add another 1/4 cup of the clear gel just to make that bind a little bit better. Yeah, that's better. Alright, so I've added an extra 1/3 cup of clear gel. I need to keep these measurements written down. That feels a lot better, and I'll be easily able to roll that into little balls about the size of a teaspoon, into little balls, and then flattened out on a tray. So I'll do that now. It's an evil little bloodsucker right there. Something so little can just be the end of my week. Seriously, if they bite me, that does put me out for at least a week. Okay, back to the cookies. Can't believe those little creatures are crawling around. Note to self to wear my own tick protection as I'm moving around the property. Time to roll these peanut balls. So we have 25 little cookie balls rolled out. I'm just going to flatten them out because I want these to be nice and crispy as well. And then I'm going to put them into the oven, which is at, like I said, 170, 180, and we're going to cook them for about 25 minutes. So you can use a spoon if you like. I'm just using the palm of my hand just to flatten them. While the dough mix is still nice and warm, I'm finding that if it cools, it becomes a little bit more brittle already. So, and that'll be the cornstarch. So I'm just making sure that my palm being warm instead of a cold spoon would be the best way to flatten these out without them getting too brittle on the outside, and that seems to be working quite well. But you can use a fork if you want to make them all pretty, but trust me, when they're teething, the last thing the little guys or girls are looking at is a design on a cookie. They just want something to stick in their mouths, and preferably something that's hard and it's not going to fall apart really easily. I was thinking about using rolled oats that were ground up in this mix as well, but I've only got rolled oats that contain honey powder, and he's under 12 months old, so honey's not an option. So I thought I'll give these a go instead, and let's cook them for 25 minutes and see how they go. Like I said, there's no rising agents in these, so I don't expect these to spread or rise at all. These would probably make perfectly fine little pet cookies as well. I'm sure my little pug behind me is thinking the same thing. Alright, they're all quite flattened out now, and into the oven they go, and then once they're really cool, I'll find out whether or not they're nice and crunchy. Done. So yesterday's English muffins that were turned into bacon and egg English muffins for breakfast obviously were a success. There is one left, so I need to make some more English muffins up as well later today. Today's a bit of a messy day, and by the time I post this, today will be yesterday or the day before. It's going to be a messy week because I've got feed getting delivered in an unscheduled delivery. My car's still in at the mechanics in town, which is a problem because I need that back by tomorrow. So I need to get on the blower and sort out what's happening with that. Otherwise I'll be driving the farm ute halfway down the Gold Coast from us, so a good 50 k's away, to and from in peak hour traffic, and that's probably not ideal for those else that are on the road, not so much for me, but others that are on the road. So I've got that to do as well. There's other odd jobs to be done. I've mucked the stables already today and prepared for the feed to be delivered, and found myself a lovely dead ratuli down the back there. I knew it was probably down there, just couldn't find where it was, and of course as soon as I've put my hands in some of the chaff, I found it this morning, so that was a bit yuck. So it's since been removed and disposed of, and I have got work to do in the veggie gardens as well. Still got a fair bit of compost. It's dry enough out the back. Sorry, one of my dogs just got my attention. Dry enough out the back that we should be able to get the truck down back to deliver the feed. Otherwise, we're going to be carrying bales of feed down to the back stable, which I don't particularly like to do. So I cleared the back area as well behind the house, which is an undercover patio area where we park the excavator, and I can put feed in there temporarily if I need to. It is sunny, it's beautiful. I could flip the camera around, you can have a quick look through the back window, or we'll head outside really briefly. I've got the oven on, so I don't want to go too far because I'm waiting for feed. I'm waiting on a phone call. If I move away from the house, I lose reception for phone as well, so I can't leave the box that's sort of here behind me. That's the booster box for our telecommunications in the house. Once I step away from that box, we don't have phone service here either, which is amazing considering where we actually live is 10 minutes from and that's a pug, 10 minutes from a pretty busy area. So little Bilbo here, who's not exactly little, gets jealous very easily. So even me talking on a phone or a camera, he gets quite jealous. These are the bigger dogs. One we love to the moon and back, and one is an evil killing machine. Can you guess which one is which? Alright, so the black girl, that's Coda. She's 12. She's my working girl. She was a rescue dog, and she's gorgeous. So she's a stumpy-tailed Smithfield. No, I didn't dock her tail. She was born that way. She had 17 pups, and out of those 17 pups, 12 of them were born without the tails as well. The rest were born looking like blue heelers. This is Fen. Fen is a 3-year-old German Shepherd who has never learned a lesson, although he's incredibly good with obedience when he wants to be, and the rest of the time he does whatever he likes. Ex-police trained dog, so he has a streak. That can be a bit of an issue. So, alright, he's my problem child. He'll kill the goats if he gets half a chance. He's already done so a couple of times, and you're probably wondering why I still have him, in spite of him killing a couple of goats. Well, unfortunately, I can't surrender him and have him euthanized. For that reason, I couldn't possibly euthanize him myself because he is a young dog, and he did do that some 9 months or so ago. So I kind of think that he was just a young, stupid animal, and he was a rescue dog. So I didn't raise him. He wasn't raised around the animals. So I'll put it down to just juvenile stupidity. Coda also, when she was younger, didn't kill goats, but she certainly has killed her share of possums and blue tongues and snakes and lizards and all other sorts of things on the property. But now she's just the old girl. So we brought the young boy in as a way to retire her from active work on the property, but this one is just not safe to do so. Alright, back inside. And like I said, I can't be away from that phone or the stove for very long. Last thing I need is to trip the power once again. Walking inside, the smell of those cookies baking, they are pretty good smelling. Definitely peanut flavour. I can smell the peanut butter, so I'm quite happy that I put the peanut butter protein, which is something I normally add to the pumpkin soup, is that peanut butter protein. That increases the protein content of the soup. So because there's not a lot of protein in soups like those as a meal, so adding the peanut butter powder, protein powder, it's good. It's a good option. It's also not that expensive, I guess, and because I only eat seafood, any kind of protein that I can get is kind of valuable. Alright, so that's a bit of a today chatsy. We'll come back when these cookies are done. Okay, baked for 20 minutes. Put them onto a rack and let them dry or cool. Got one here, so there's 24 plus 1, 5. Oh yeah. I say that's going to make a perfect little teething roast for him. It tastes really nice too. And there's that dog of mine running up and down the paddock. Okay. All right, so that's a yes recipe. So I've written that into the book. I will transcribe it and put it into the description section for those that are interested in making these little crispy peanut cookies that are gluten-free. Perfect. All right, thanks for joining me once again. And I better go off to the back paddock and deal with that dog. All right, thanks guys. Bye. Enjoy the rest of your day.